Hello folks. Now today's episode is kind of meant for humorous purposes, and it's not really meant to be taken as seriously as other videos of mine. However, it's still a pretty legit episode and you can still get knowledge from it. It's not like I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian the whole time. I mean, are you kidding me? It's just a really silly idea for an episode, but I do think it can work. We're gonna talk about a specific ride at a specific theme park and my experiences with that ride. The only reason I do this at all is because 3, and I don't know what is with me in doing things based off the number 3, but 3 experiences of mine from that ride were kinda negative. Don't ask me why. But if you've been a long time BBM fan, you'll know that Silver Dollar City is no stranger to me, and I've been there probably at least 10 to 15 times. I haven't been since 2016, and I don't feel like going even after COVID has already settled down a bit, but I still don't feel like going there again, at least right now. But they have a ride called the Flooded Mine, which is basically just a shooting gallery. Nothing to say there. However though, if I remember correctly, they had the score that you had on the guns that you were using to shoot with, and they're not real bullets, they're just lasers that can sense the, you know what I mean. So that's cool how it keeps your score, but it would be even more cool if it had a leaderboard, you know what I mean? Like, if there was like a high score and before you get on the ride, you can like enter a name or tell them your name or whatever, and it would just be cool, okay? I mean, I know it's like a ride and that wouldn't make much sense, but it would still be awesome. But let me tell you my experiences with this ride. Mostly going to be focusing on the negative aspects for this episode. I'm not trying to be a negative person or nothing, but we are going to go a little downhill. So one day on that Flooded Mine ride, before we actually got on the ride, they were opening the gates to let people into the boat. Now, obviously you don't want to have your hand on the gate because it keeps it from opening or something. I don't know if it can actually hurt you. We'll get to something that could hurt you later, but obviously you just don't want to have your hand on the gate. Now remember guys, this is a silly episode, but to me this is kind of a not so good thing. One of my family members was like, Kale, hand off the gate. And I'm like, could you be any ruder? Holy crap. Like, really? Could you be any ruder? Actually, yeah, you can. You probably might as well should have just said, Kale, you loser, idiot ass bitch. Get your damn muscles up. I mean, you might as well. I mean, if you're going to be rude about it, just be as rude as possible, you know what I mean? I know this is kind of silly, but really, that was not the right way to say that. It's either you be as rude as you possibly can, or you actually say it nicely. And I would prefer you say it nicely. Or, hell, why not just get out your freaking chainsaw? I'm going too far. You get the point. You're not even allowed to bring a freaking chainsaw into Silver Dollar City anyway, so what am I talking about? But anyway. So that was that event. Now, it's not all gloom and doom with this family member of mine. We actually did have a good time this once, when it was just me and him riding the Flooded Mine. What do I mean by that? Well, just in case you aren't familiar with the theme of the Flooded Mine, other than it being a freaking mine with water all over it, it's about prisoners that have jobs to do, and so they make them work in the mine. That's what it's about. It's not real prisoners, it's just animatronics and statues and stuff. And it's based off old-time jail stuff. It's not like today's jail. You can tell the inmates are wearing the striped jumpsuits, the black and white instead of the orange ones. So yeah, it's meant to be old school. I don't know when they started making them wear the orange jumpsuits, but this ride could have been built before that actually became a thing. I have no clue, but... Well, me and this family member who I just established wasn't being that nice to me that one time, he said he noticed something that he never saw on the ride before, and he's been on there quite a few times. He just saw something like poking out of something, and he never actually noticed that. And you know what? I don't think I did either. It's right at that part towards the end where the 2 inmates are trying to escape, and so they're climbing on a rope, and one of them has the voice box that says, "Hurry up, Fred," before the guard wakes up. It's programmed to repeat that on loop. I think that would wake the guard up if these were real people, but I digress. Now, right after that moment, there were water sprinklers that they had added after the first time I have ridden on that ride. And it was around the same time where my family member stated that he noticed something new on the ride. However, though, when I was like, I never noticed those before, he was like, well, I'm pretty sure those are new because we would have noticed them if they were there before. The thing that popped up was kind of hidden, so it does make sense. Alright, well, that was the most exciting part of the episode, but I still have to tell you 2 more of these scenarios. About people being rude. Well, I want to call it that rude, but you want to have your hand out of the water while the ride is going, just so it doesn't get, like, damaged or something, I don't know. And one of the women that were operating the ride was like, hands out of the water, sir. I know that's not, like, rude, but it's not exactly nice either, it's just in the middle somewhere. I know I'm being really, really silly, but that's kind of the point of this episode. But I didn't even know she was talking to me. She had to say like 3 times until I finally noticed that it was actually me she was talking to. So yeah, it's probably best that you don't have your hands out of the ride, even if it's not a roller coaster. You should probably just keep them inside the cart, you know what I mean? And real quick, before I say this last scenario, I know this is a weird place to put this bit of information in the episode itself, but every freaking time, we would start riding on the flooded mine in Silver Dollar City. After the very start of it, in that room that's behind the operator, and you go to your left, that little, like, deck area, every time I saw that, I would always think about Super Mario 64 DS, and how you started off playing as Yoshi in that game instead of Mario. That always came to my mind when we freaking came to that point. Look, I know various spots, if you go there enough, you'll start to have repeating memories and stuff, but how the hell does that get associated with anything? Well, anyway, last bit of information, and it's going to be a little sad, but one time on the ride, I was not paying attention, and I just thought it would be cool if I just pointed the gun at my head and, you know, acted like I was going to shoot myself or something. Obviously, that's not a good joke or nothing. My stepmom was like, Kale, don't play like that. Again, not rude or nothing. The only really rude thing would have been the first one. But, yeah, people are going to think you really have intentions of doing that. If you pretend to, I don't want to go too deep and make you all sad and crap, but if you do feel like doing that, just go to some freaking doctor or a therapist. And don't come to me, because believe me, I don't want to be alive. But I choose to be alive just so I can continue to make videos, you know what I mean? This just went really dark. Maybe we should stop now. So that was this episode, and I know it was pretty unusual and silly and kind of didn't make much sense, but it probably would make a good episode, don't you think? I am running out of space in Season 8, though. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there is a minimum and a maximum amount of episodes that a season can hold. The minimum is 10, the maximum is 20. This is the 17th episode in Season 8, so it's like, I may just have to start Season 9 at my dad's house, believe it or not. You've only seen one video there, and that was the KIS's Re-Big Bang update video. If we get moved before I get 3 more ideas in, then I won't have to do that. Unless, of course, the room I'm going to be staying in is too small for editing and crap. But if that's not the case, then it will be at the new house. But if it is, the sub-headquarters. Well, folks, that was this episode, and don't go digging for gold. Goodbye.